My name is Jaime. I'm co-founder of Kindred Being. We offer beyond quantum healing hypnosis sessions as well as crystals and energy tools. I'm a certified beyond quantum healing facilitator, and this entire journey started for me in 2017 when my spirit guides stepped into my life. They changed my entire perspective. They changed my entire reality. Since then, my journey has been that of expansion and enlightenment. This is what I want to share with you. This is my story. Good morning. I woke up with a clear message right before I opened my eyes, and it was moon eclipse Saturday. So I've been laying here on my phone doing some research, seeing when the next lunar eclipse is. And I've seen that the next lunar eclipse, which is also called a blood moon, is in January 2019, the 20th and the 21st. So I looked that up to see if it was a Saturday, but it's not a Saturday, it's a Sunday. So I'm not quite sure what that means. I think, the 20th is a Sunday. So I'm not sure, why they were saying Saturday lunar eclipse and the next one coming up is actually a Sunday. So if anybody else is getting anything from that information, leave a comment or email me and let me know if you have any insight on why I would have been getting that message. And then I looked further in the future to see when the next total lunar eclipse is, and it's not till I think it was May 26th, 2021. So, and it still was not on a Saturday. I think it was on a Wednesday. So I'm not sure what that message was about, but again, sometimes things become clearer as time goes on. And if anybody has any insight about that, message me or comment so that we can all see it, and let me know. I'm about to get up and get my day started. Hi everyone, I'm at the office again today, and I wanted to share something because I'm just doing editing on my birthday video, the 12/12 video. And something interesting happened that day that I really wanted to share. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dolores Cannon's work, but she is a past life regressionist. She developed the quantum healing hypnosis technique. It's very similar to the beyond quantum healing technique that we use today in our sessions. And she had a theory about this reality that we live in, and about kind of background people. So she talked a lot about the focus being in this incarnation now, but that as we move through our reality, the people that we see are background people unless we interact with them, and then they come into our reality and they kind of animate, which is really interesting, saying that say a couple streets over from where you are now, it's completely dormant until your attention and your focus goes into that area. Then all of a sudden it starts to populate and it starts to animate. So that's a really interesting concept that I've thought of quite a bit. I really didn't like that concept because I felt like it was a little bit dehumanizing to other people, to strangers, and I like to think that we are all source, and we're all a part of source, and that we're all one and we're all the same, and that everyone has just as much importance on this planet as we do. So that has always been kind of a difficult concept for me. It's not something that I felt was an answer to in my reality. However, I had some very interesting experiences on my birthday that I did want to share, because as I was walking to the park that day, I was walking across the parking lot of a mall, a very large parking lot, and there were a lot of cars there. However, there was no movement, so there were no cars coming in and out. They were all just kind of parked, and I had a long way to walk across the parking lot. And as I turned the corner to walk across this parking lot, and then I had the parking lot in view, again, there was no movement, there was no people, nobody was coming in and out of their cars, no cars were coming in and out of the parking lot, so it was really, really quiet. And then as I began to walk across the parking lot, cars started to come in and turn into the parking lot right in front of me, so I would have to stop, wait for them to pass. They were also coming the other way, right in front of me. And as I watched beyond where I was walking, there were no cars. I would even turn and look back behind me, and there were no cars behind me. And this kept happening as I was coming up upon all the little driveways, you know, in between the parking spaces. So each one I came up to, all of a sudden cars started to come in front of me. This became pretty apparent, and then I started to really look around me before I would come up to one of those little driveways. I would say, okay, there's no cars coming that way, there's no cars coming that way, there's no way, you know, anybody's going to be driving in front of me as I'm trying to cross this driveway. Well, each time cars would show up from seemingly out of nowhere with no other activity that I had noticed before. So then they would again drive in front of me in both directions, and I found that quite odd. It was also odd every time I was passing, you know, a major street that didn't have kind of a cross light with a crosswalk, so there was no, you know, button to push. As I was walking up, you know, it seemed like it would be easy for me to just cross with no cars, really quiet. And then as I got closer to the crosswalk, all of a sudden there was a bunch of cars there, and so I would have to wait for a long time till I could cross on the way to the park. So that kind of caught my attention and caught my awareness of like, okay, something interesting is happening here. And in that video, I kind of show footage of me walking to the park in that little neighborhood. And as I'm walking there, and I'm getting close to the park, I have a view of someone in the park, and she's standing very still, and it seems like she's not moving at all. And it looked a little bit odd to me, the way she was standing, just completely mannequin still. And I was noticing that as well. It came into my focus, it came into my awareness. And so as I got closer, you know, I had my eye on her. I'm like, this is kind of strange, the way she's just standing there. She then began to move, and then she turned and walked in my direction. And as she walked in my direction and I got closer to her, she looked at me and she waved, and she kept walking. And I thought, that's really weird. She was standing so still. As soon as I get close, she turns towards me, walks towards me, and waves. Then I'm getting closer to the park, and then finally I'm at the park and I have the view of the park. As I'm turning that corner, there is a family there who are, I think there was like 2 young girls and 1 older woman, must have been the mother. They were standing still, crouched. Well, the mother was standing, the 2 girls were crouched, and they had a dog with them, and they were completely still. And as I turned the corner and I turned my attention, my focus to them, they began to move, and they all looked at me. They turned around and looked at me at the same time. I'm still probably, 100 feet away, if not more. They all turned and looked at me, and then they looked back in the other direction, and they began to walk in that direction. They got up from the crouched position and started walking. So that was interesting. And then I noticed that quite a bit more at the park where it seemed really quiet. I was looking for a quiet spot that I can just kind of lay in the grass and in the sun, you know, and be out of everyone's way and maybe, you know, not be disturbed so I can do my meditations without, you know, catching anybody's attention. However, wherever I chose to go, all of a sudden people were there and people would come, walk by, you know, all of a sudden that area seemed to get very populated, even though the park had seemed pretty quiet before. So that was interesting. That caught my attention, and it makes me wonder a little bit more about Dolores Cannon's theory about the background people. So it's kind of like, you know, say you're in a store. This happens to all of us, right? You're in a store and you're going to look at a particular product, and all of a sudden as you're walking towards that product or you're standing there looking at that product, people will come near you and look at the same product, you know, and kind of maybe even nudge you out of the way. All of a sudden, whatever you're focused on and whatever is in your awareness seems to be in other people's awareness too, and they move towards the same area as you. So it makes me wonder about this theory Dolores Cannon has about this reality we're in and how our focus is what animates this reality. I'm not settled on that theory just yet, but it is something that I'm willing to explore more. I'm open to. There are some other theories I'm exploring currently. I feel like there's some answers in the whole idea of focus, because that has come up in my own sessions as a client, my own Beyond Quantum Healing sessions as a client. I shared one here on this channel that's, I think it was the choice between 3D and 5D, and it talked a lot about the focus being on this incarnation now. And so I'm exploring what that means that the focus is here now, and what's happening in our other incarnations and our other experiences where our focus is not, and why is our focus here now. So these are just some concepts that I'm exploring, and I wanted to share that experience with you. I'm feeling pretty good today. I had a really kind of strange day yesterday. It was kind of emotional, and I had a hard time dealing with like a lot of kind of stress and heaviness that was coming on to me, and it was a little bit of a tumultuous day, which is unusual for me. And then I realized that I had drank a cup of coffee yesterday, and I'm not used to drinking coffee, and my body really didn't like it, and it reacted to it. And then it was very hard for me to manage my energy and to hold those love frequencies when my body was rejecting this coffee that I drank. So that's a good lesson for me, to stay far away from coffee, and stay away from things that my body's just not accustomed to anymore. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. If you guys have any insight or comments or thoughts, please share them in the comments down below this video, or email us, or, you know, connect with us on Facebook or Instagram and Twitter, and let me know what you think. You know, I'm still kind of sussing this out and exploring these concepts and ideas, so let me know what you think. Okay, so I'm headed home now. I'm just waiting for the bus, and I'm trying to call down some UFOs so that I can communicate with them and maybe even get some on tape, but we'll see if they come. Okay, so I'm just looking to see if any of our friends will come for a visit. Maybe we'll catch something. Maybe not. I'll check back in a bit. Okay, I'm back home now and I'm just checking emails and social media before I get ready for bed. And I just want to share with you all why I'm doing this vlog. I'm just like everyone else. I'm just a normal person. I've been in really dark places and situations in my life, and everything changed for me with this awakening. And it's taken me to amazing places and a state of being I never knew existed. I've learned and grown so much as a person and as another being on this planet. I've been awakened to a whole new reality. And I just want to share that, you know, so many of us are going through this right now. And I've been told by my guides that I need to share this journey and just kind of reach out to everybody else who's going through this and share my experiences. So that's it for tonight. Good night. I'll see you in the next video.